Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, and I was not going to do an update today, but the Pi Network gods or whatever is looking after them or controlling them has decided that a significant new blog post would be released today that I don't think should wait. And so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do an update. And I also have a user comment that I want to talk about based on my post that originally announced that I wasn't going to be doing an update. But first, the metrics. The circulating supply is 8.28 billion Pi, and there were 858 user accounts migrated yesterday, totaling only 396.8 thousand Pi. There is currently 19.8 million Pi in the Pi migration wallet, and migrations are happening now. And I will tell you, tomorrow's migration numbers are going to be much higher than today's. In fact, it is higher than many previous days combined. So that's good news. But I'll give you those total numbers tomorrow. The migrated unlock rewards are at 3.21 billion Pi, with 3.2 million Pi unlocked in the last 24 hours and now free to be traded on the open markets. This user asks if I had any thoughts about why so little accounts are being migrated lately. And I do have thoughts. I've responded in the comments, but I want to talk about it here. I have mentioned several times now how the recent migration numbers are quite low, but they've been quite consistent. Rather than having multiple days where there's no migrations, we've pretty much had a consistent flow of migrations that are lower than usual. And I can only imagine that that's by design. The one fallacy that a lot of people have is that Pi migrations are first in, first served, like what they call a FIFO queue, first in, first out. That's not how it works. They call it a queue, but queues can be a lot of different things. And in the case of the Pi network, the queue is algorithmic. Whether you get picked on the queue depends on parameters that they set within an algorithm to determine what accounts can be migrated. And I will tell you this, I don't know what the number is, but if you have a certain number of Pi sitting in your wallet, there's a chance you will not be migrated due to the simple fact of that number. Like I said, I don't know what the number is, but the Pi network is prioritizing lower Pi balance migrations. And I know a lot of people are going to be unhappy about that, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You can be as unhappy as you want. This is the Pi network. The Pi core team controls the Pi network. It is completely centralized. And right now, what they're trying to do is limit the amount of Pi coin that's making it onto the markets. And the way they do that is by essentially blacking out the ability to migrate large balances like myself and many others who've been in here for a long time. So you have a lot of people who complain about the lack of migrations from a lot of the old timers. And, you know, a lot of them like me have 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 15,000 Pi. We're not going to get migrated, not anytime soon. Having that amount of Pi potentially hitting the market is not something they want to deal with. So if you notice, they're picking low balance accounts. You know, we're talking maybe 1,500 Pi or less, and in most cases, a lot less. So if you've got more than that and you're waiting on migration, expect to keep waiting. And I wouldn't bother losing your temper or being impatient. What are you going to do? I see this so much. People are all in a big hurry to migrate. What are you going to do? Right now, if it was $3 a coin like it was initially, I can see a lot of people wanting to sell, but it's not. It's 26 cents right now. What are you going to do? So just relax. You'll eventually get it. The fear that you're not going to is just ridiculous. What reason do you have to believe that the Pi Core team wants to scam you out of your Pi, especially when they've already delivered Pi to millions, and I mean millions of people? 21 million people. So why would they single you out? I'm not talking about the commenter here. I'm just talking about in general, the euphemistic you. Why would they single you out to not be migrated or to steal your Pi or to prevent you from ever having it? My point is what would you do with it if you had it? Are you going to sell it for this price? And if you are, then okay, then I'm real sorry you can't have it. But I'm also wondering about your place within the gene pool, because I don't see any reason to sell it at this price. What's it going to do for you? Even if you had a large number of Pi that you've mined over the last 6 years, it can't possibly be enough to make a significant dent in your cost of living or your status of living, unless you're in an extremely poor country. But I think at that point, most people who are in that situation have already made a sale. They're already gone, or they've been scammed and lost everything, which is probably an equal percentage. So just relax, okay? You're going to get migrated. It's just a question of time. How much time? Who knows? And at this point, why do you care? So I mentioned recently about how the pace of updates and activity from the Pi Core team has increased. Yes, they're not talking to people, but they never have. But they are busy and they're very active. And today they put out yet another blog post, and it says Pi Network Ventures announces first investment in OpenMind. Now I'm going to say that this is old news. Even though they're just officially announcing it now, it has been pretty apparent that Pi Network Ventures has invested in OpenMind. And that's been at least a couple of months. So, I mean, I'm not sure what changed now to make the Pi Core team officially announce it, but this doesn't really come as a surprise. Pi Network Ventures has made its first investment in OpenMind, a company developing an operating system, an open source protocol for robots to think, learn, and work together, like Android for robots. This investment in OpenMind aligns with both Pi Network and Pi Network Ventures' key objectives. Pi Network strives to use blockchain and the resources behind it to solve real-world problems. Pi Network Ventures works to capture more of the world's production onto Pi and increase the utility of Pi. OpenMind's technologies create a shared intelligence layer that enables robots to collaborate and learn collectively in a decentralized ecosystem. This complements Pi's vision for the future of blockchain and AI, where decentralized infrastructure supports open innovation and equitable participation. Beyond this investment, Pi Network and OpenMind have collaborated and completed a proof of concept project where volunteer Pi node operators ran image recognition AI models for OpenMind, thus proving it is possible for Pi node operators to run computations for third-party organizations. Now that's very important. The proof of concept and the fact that it was successful, especially for something as computationally expensive as AI, is a big deal, because the Pi Network has said on many occasions, or at least Nicholas Koukoulas has said, that one use case they've had for Pi Network utility was to utilize the nodes as a collection of CPUs. In other words, a virtual supercomputer comprised of user computers from all over the world. And what you're seeing here is that they've done it utilizing nodes, the blockchain, and individuals. They have managed to show a proof of concept that this is feasible within the Pi network. That's a big deal because it validates one of their use cases. By transforming unused computing power into productive work, this effort, one, enables AI products to serve and fulfill their computation demands from Pi nodes by paying node runners in Pi, and two, allows Pi node runners to opt in to earn Pi from additional node utility apart from node mining rewards. This Pi node utility can help further integrate Pi into the AI economy through these computation and AI model training contributions to the AI infrastructure layer. Now, I know a lot of people who are clamoring to get their validator rewards are saying, well, why would I volunteer for this when you can't even pay me for what you previously promised? And that's a fair point. But you know what? We have to invest as a community in the future of Pi. KYC sounds important, and it is in the terms of Pi, but they never really wanted humans to do it. They wanted their own AI systems to be able to do it. And the humans are just the backup. So that's not really a strategic advantage for them. In fact, it's a reminder that they're lacking in an area. However, something like this is very much in their strategic roadmap, and they would rather focus their attention and the attention of the community on something like this, as opposed to when am I going to get my validator rewards? I wouldn't discount this opportunity to participate if it's still available, just because you're upset about validator rewards. If you assume that you're going to get your validator rewards, which you should, then why not add to the value by doing this as well? OpenMind is developing infrastructure that enables robots and intelligent systems to interact with their environments and with each other securely and without dependence on single vendor ecosystems. Its hardware-agnostic OM1 operating system supports the integration of intelligent machines into real-world contexts. The newly introduced Fabric protocol allows machines to verify identity, share context, and coordinate across physical and digital environments. Investment in OpenMind provides a potential opportunity to work towards Pi Network's broader vision for blockchain in an AI-driven world. Pi Network Ventures' participation in OpenMind's funding round reflects its commitment to supporting strong startups and businesses, both in blockchain and across technology sectors that align with Pi Network's direction. This complements its three core investment objectives: increasing the utility of Pi, enabling more of the world's production onto Pi Network, and bringing Pi into real-world use cases. Regarding blockchain in an AI-driven world, Pi Network recognizes that technological productivity, especially from AI, raises questions about distribution, production, and the role of human labor and intelligence. In a future where productivity and transactions are increasingly carried out by AI agents acting on behalf of humans, the integration and accessibility of payment methods for these agents is an important feature. Infrastructure that enables these agents to operate autonomously and coordinate effectively in real-world environments will be essential. OpenMind seeks to build a shared intelligence layer that supports machine collaboration across sectors from autonomous logistics to industrial automation and contribute to the advancement of an interoperable AI application layer. The layer sits between high-powered AI infrastructure and real-world production, and in Pi's view, empowering that layer is essential to ensure that the benefits of AI reach human participants equitably. The architecture that OpenMind is developing may represent one pathway for developing the coordination infrastructure necessary to scale intelligent systems in open and adaptable ways. In turn, such systems may create the opportunity for blockchain-enabled layers of identity, access, authentication, payments, or incentive mechanisms, categories where Pi has existing infrastructure and ecosystem activity. In that context, Pi Network Ventures' investment in OpenMind supports the broader goal of preparing a technical and ecosystem environment integrated with real-world Pi utility in an increasingly AI-dominant world. Now, I'm not going to read the rest of this. You can check it out on their community blog site, and you can read the rest of these details here. My goal was to just point out how the investment in OpenMind fits in the Pi Ventures charter, and the fact that we now have confirmation that they are the Pi Ventures' first investment, despite the fact that it's been pretty common knowledge for the last couple of months. It's good to see the Pi network finally coming around and making it official. Just wish they would do things like that sooner. So I know I said I wasn't going to do update, but the universe conspired to make me a liar. So I hope you enjoyed this update and found it informative. I know I sure have. If anything breaks, I'll be sure to hop on and let you know. But until then, don't panic. Stay the course, and remember, the success of the Pi network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.